Hey guys, this is your host Jennifer Queens. Welcome to my channel. Do consider subscribing. Something major has shifted behind the scenes, and it could change the course of the entire championship. A new FIA directive is set to take effect, targeting one of the most critical aspects of car design this season. Quiet lobbying, hidden advantages, and a flurry of technical whispers have all led to this pivotal moment. It may not seem like much from the outside, but those in the know understand exactly which team stands to lose the most. The question now is, did Red Bull just maneuver the FIA into taking McLaren's biggest weapon away without ever touching the car itself? When the FIA makes a move this precise, sudden, and targeted, it usually indicates one thing: someone got too clever. McLaren's recent rise wasn't just a result of upgrades in driver performance. Behind the scenes, rival teams had been tracking something else: McLaren's front wing. At lower speeds, it appeared solid, stable, and rigid. But as the speed climbed to 300 kilometers per hour, the entire wing shifted, just slightly, but enough. Enough to reduce drag, enough to smooth the airflow, and enough to perfectly balance the car across slow, medium, and high-speed corners, all without any setup compromises. It was brilliant. Too brilliant. According to Red Bull, they'd seen this before, years ago, when teams like Ferrari and Mercedes experimented with rear wing torsion and floor compliance. The trick was always the same: design a component that passes FIA load tests under static conditions, but subtly shifts at high speed, where the tests don't apply. It's the gray area, the sweet spot where legality and performance overlap just long enough to win races. McLaren's breakthrough first turned heads in China, but it wasn't until Miami that the alarms went off. While Red Bull battled with balance and tire wear, McLaren looked planted. When thermal cameras revealed unusually stable tire behavior on both the front and rear axles, Red Bull's engineers started digging. That's when they uncovered the flex. Slow-motion footage exposed the front wing's outer elements visibly tilting backward between 80 kilometers per hour and 325 kilometers per hour. The effect was subtle, but undeniable. The wing wasn't just stationary, it was working. Red Bull gathered their data and took it directly to the FIA. They didn't file an official protest. There was no need. Just a quiet conversation, a few key screenshots, and a request for clarity, and the FIA listened. The new directive, which came ahead of the Spanish Grand Prix, will introduce revised load test parameters for the front wing. Instead of just testing the wing under direct vertical force, the FIA will now include torsional and rotational stress loads, specifically designed to catch designs that flex under aerodynamic pressure but stay stiff during standard compliance checks. This is a direct hit, and McLaren knows it. From Barcelona onward, their current wing design, the very one that's fueled their back-to-back podiums, won't pass. It will have to be scrapped, redesigned, and reworked. And not just the wing. The entire aerodynamic platform surrounding it, including barge boards, floor edge vortices, and brake duct geometry, was tuned to work with that flex. Now, it all needs to change. This isn't just a tweak. It's a complete reset. What made the Flexi-Wing so effective was the freedom it gave McLaren with their setup. With the wing shifting shape at speed, they could run a more aggressive rake, stiffer rear suspension, and narrower tire pressures without destabilizing the front end. They had the rare advantage of combining low-speed grip with high-speed stability. Take that away, and suddenly, they're like everyone else. Corner entry understeer becomes a problem again. High-speed rotation becomes inconsistent. Tire temperatures spike mid-stint. Brake balance needs adjustment. The entire aerodynamic platform becomes more sensitive to fuel load and track evolution. The setup window tightens, and that opens the door for mistakes. McLaren's aero department had invested heavily in elastic deformation modeling this season. They didn't just design a fast car. They designed one that was meant to flex. The carbon layering, the internal rib structure of the wing, even the mounting points, all were fine-tuned to give under aerodynamic load while staying legal in compliance tests. Now all that investment is wasted. And Red Bull, they've been here before. They know what it's like to lose an edge through regulation. Whether it was the 2014 engine shift, the 2021 floor cut, or the ride height clampdown of 2023, Red Bull always adapts. And they always know how to use the rulebook as a weapon. This time, they didn't beat McLaren on track. They beat them in the technical briefings. And that could change the title fight. Heading into Spain, McLaren looked like real contenders. Piastri's consistency, Norris's confidence, the momentum was undeniable. But without the Flexi-Wing, that advantage vanishes, at least for now. Every team has to adapt, but some have more room to maneuver. McLaren's gains were tightly integrated. Their entire 2025 aero philosophy revolves around dynamic load efficiency, using air to reshape the car in real time. Without it, they're exposed. Red Bull, on the other hand, has always been conservative with their front-wing designs. Their flex zones are minimal, their load paths predictable, meaning this directive affects them the least, and they know it. There are always gray areas in Formula One, but the FIA has a responsibility to ensure clarity. If there's a component acting in a way that doesn't align with the spirit of the rules, it's right to address it. Christian Horner's comment just days before the directive dropped wasn't a coincidence. Red Bull had seen McLaren pull away in corners where they used to dominate, and they'd watched their championship lead shrink. Now, they're back in control. But McLaren's not the only team affected. Other teams like Aston Martin and even Mercedes had started exploring similar techniques. But McLaren perfected it, and now they pay the price for being first. McLaren's team principal, Andrea Stella, was diplomatic when asked about the directive. "We've always worked within the limits of the regulations. If the FIA believes further clarification is needed, we'll adapt accordingly." But adapting isn't instantaneous. New wings require new simulations, new mounts, new driver feedback, and that all takes time. McLaren might lose just a few tenths, but in modern F1, that's enough to drop from pole to the second row, enough to lose clean air, enough to get caught in traffic and overheat tires, enough to derail a title run. And that's exactly what Red Bull is counting on. They didn't push the FIA to rewrite the rules out of fairness. They did it because it was their fastest route back to the top. And so far, it's working. But what happens next? If McLaren finds a legal workaround, a new form of aeroelasticity that still passes the tests, we're looking at an arms race. Every top team will chase it. The FIA will tighten the rules again. The margins will shrink. And just like the Flexi-Wing War of 2021, the title may come down not to lap times, but to interpretation. What counts as rigid? What counts as performance-relevant flex? Where does innovation end and exploitation begin? Those lines aren't drawn in black and white. They're shaped by lobbyists, engineers, media pressure, and quiet meetings after debriefs. McLaren played the game brilliantly, but Red Bull played it better. And now, as we head into the summer stretch, we'll see what happens when one of the fastest cars on the grid suddenly has to play by new rules. Rules they didn't break, but definitely bent. The Spanish Grand Prix won't show the full fallout, that takes time. But it will give us the first hint. Does McLaren drop back into the pack? Does Red Bull surge forward? Or has McLaren already started cooking up version 2? One thing's certain, in a season this tightly contested, the flex of a few millimeters could decide the championship. And no matter how you feel about the FIA stepping in, one thing is now undeniable. This title fight just got personal.